On today's show, I'm going to be telling you how the LA Clippers went from the biggest disappointment in the NBA to the hottest team in the NBA.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 21 years, been covering the team on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for 6, and 4 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And now the #1 sports podcast network. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube to get us up to 9,000 subscribers before the end of the season. And of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Clipper Nation and fans around the league. Today, we are going to be talking about why the LA Clippers, or how the LA Clippers went from being the biggest disappointment in the NBA to now being the hottest team in the league, having won 16 of their last 19 games. After starting the season 6-21, we are now 22-24. I'm going to talk about 3 things in particular: Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and the youth. But first, the main reason why the Clippers have turned it around is Kawhi Leonard. Everything starts and ends with Kawhi Leonard. When he is healthy, the Clippers are just an entirely different threat to the league. Even last year against Denver, we lost in the first round, but we went 7 games against a very good team, probably the second best team in the Western Conference after the Thunder. And of course, before that, when Kawhi was healthy, we defeated the Dallas Mavericks in the first round in 2021. And in 2023, we looked like we were on our way to potentially beating the Phoenix Suns, having stolen home court advantage in those first 2 games. And then obviously he tore his meniscus. Kawhi Leonard, when he was playing in the beginning of the season, wasn't playing badly, right? The first couple of games before he got injured, on his last game he played for a while was November 3rd. So at that point he had played 6 games. That was when we were 3-3. He was averaging 24 points a game, which is pretty good, right? 24 points a game, but you know, you could obviously get more from Kawhi. We've seen him be more aggressive. We've seen him score more than 24 points a game. But that's been around what his baseline average has been as a Clipper. But the reason that is because a lot of these seasons, like 2022-23 and last season, he comes back and is like rehabbing, and he's on a minutes restriction for a while, and it's taking him some time to get into the swing of things and to really become his full best version. And then he goes on a crazy run where his shooting splits are ridiculous. So in the first month, his shooting splits were great. He was averaging 24 points a game on like 50, 44, 95 splits. But then when he came back, the first 2 games, he only scored a combined 39 points. The first 2 games, he's on a minutes restriction. And he was on that minutes restriction for what felt like forever. Basically all the way till the December 11th game where he played 41 minutes. He was capped at 35 minutes before that. And we were losing close games that I felt like he could have played more in. And he felt like he could have played more in. And so he was shooting well, he was playing well, but he was only scoring around 21 to 24 points a game consistently. Then the winning streak began, starting with the win against the Lakers that propelled us to winning 6 games in a row. In that stretch, he had his career-high 55 points. He had a 41-point game against the Houston Rockets in a win by 20 on December 23rd. He had 32 and 12 against the Lakers to start the winning streak, and this was also the start of this 16-3 run that I referenced in the beginning of the pod. Kawhi turned up, and it's like just kind of having the shackles off. You get him to play basketball freely and basketball in a sense of he knows that he doesn't have to come out here because he's not going to reach or he's going to exceed his minutes restriction. You know what I'm saying? He's able to just play the game knowing I'm going to close it. I'm going to play the big minutes, all that good stuff. And he's able to get more shots off. He's able to score more points. He's able to just be more aggressive. And that's another thing. It's not just the minutes restriction being lifted. Kawhi himself has begun the aggressive Kawhi that we know and love. He has been looking to score when he's out there. It has felt like he's the number one option on this team. And in the beginning, when he was playing this season, I was like, man, is he the number one option? James Harden's more reliable. James Harden's having a better start to the season. But I felt like, and I've always said this, when we have to debate who's the best player on the Clippers between Harden and Kawhi, that's not a good thing. That means that Kawhi Leonard is not performing to the level that we think he should perform. And that's not a knock on James. It's just James came here to support Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? He came here to be the facilitator to Kawhi being the number one scorer. And when Kawhi is playing like he has the last couple of months, or, especially in this 20-game stretch or 19-game stretch, it changes everything for us. I've said it a lot of times. When Kawhi goes from scoring 24 a game to scoring 27, 28 a game, it doesn't feel like much or sound like much, but it is a lot because it's an average and it's an encapsulation of his mindset, looking to be more aggressive. Kawhi Leonard in the month of December averaged 30 points to go along with 7 boards and 4 assists. In the month of January, he's averaging 29, 6, and 3. In the last 20 games that he has played, 29, 7, and 4 on 50, 40, 92 splits. The guy is not doing anything differently than what you've seen in previous years, except for adding to his three-point volume. He shot, in this 20-game stretch, 8 threes a game. 8 threes a game would be more than he's ever shot in his career on average. This season, he's shooting a career high in three-point attempts at 7, and he's shooting 40%. What that has resulted in is, as of this moment that I'm recording this pod, the highest scoring season of his NBA career. I know it's easier to score nowadays. The paint is open. They're calling a lot more this year as well, but just in general compared to, when he first entered the league. But 2019 and those years, the referees were calling everything. But the spacing and the three-point volume of the league has opened it up even more, and the pace has increased even more in these last 6 years. So I'm not trying to knock Kawhi. I'm just saying that just because he's averaging his most points doesn't mean to me he's having his best scoring season necessarily. That's more for, I guess, Kawhi fans to debate in the comments. But it depends, like, how much do you value him scoring 25 and a half in the Spurs offense in 2017 when it was a little bit harder to score versus scoring 28 right now on a team that's below 500. That's just, I guess that's for the debates. But putting it this way, it's his best statistical scoring season ever, which is insane given everything that he's been through. It's crazy. Who would have had that on the bingo card? 28 points a game to go along with 6 rebounds. So if you think about it that way, so 28, 6, and 3.5 on 50, 40, 94 splits, but technically he needs the 0.2% on the field goal because it's 49.8 right now, and then 39.7 from 3. So he's almost 50, 40, 90. But the three-point volume has stood out, a lot more pull-up threes in transition. But, why not take them if you shoot them so well like him? For him, I think it's smart that he should shoot more threes. But, man, you have Kawhi Leonard having the best statistical scoring season of his career. That's going to bode well. So that's part of why we've made a 16-3 push. Kawhi Leonard first and foremost. And then James Harden and Kawhi Leonard both. There was a stretch where in the second halves of games, they just kind of ran out of juice. And I think it was partially because James Harden was carrying a larger load because Kawhi Leonard wasn't fully healthy yet, wasn't fully aggressive, and was on a minutes restriction, and he would get gassed as the game went on. And he also wasn't really trusting those other guys to create shots because we didn't really have many options. Kobe Sanders was just kind of breaking into the rotation, and I'll talk about him later. But James was putting a lot on his plate, and then Kawhi Leonard couldn't always play the whole fourth quarter. He'd have to get like subbed out abruptly because of this minutes restriction. But now they've both kind of flipped the switch in terms of, and it's funny because even with the minutes restriction that Kawhi was on, he still looked more gassed and more fatigued at the end of games. Like his shot being short, not creating as much space. And James Harden like wouldn't be able to blow by his man anymore. In the second halves, they've kind of flipped the switch. And now in the second halves, they look lively. They look fine. It's wild. It's like, I haven't really seen something like that. Because usually as the season progresses, your guys get more fatigued. It's like they almost found a second wind at their age. And that's pretty impressive to me. With Kawhi, I think maybe it was just getting warm. But like in the beginning of the season, after having a full training camp, he didn't look as fresh as he's looked in this stretch. So I don't know. There's no substitute for NBA games, I guess. But Harden is the one where, his shooting hasn't been as good. Like 3-point shooting hasn't been as good in this stretch as it was in the beginning of the season. But I think in terms of getting by as defender, he has looked even better in this stretch late in games than before. So James Harden also deserves credit as well. Now coming up, going to be talking about who I labeled the X Factor, the player whose performance change has totally changed this team. We're going to be talking about that guy coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets before the start of an event. There's nothing like being at an NBA game. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. I got opening night, like my first game at Intuit Dome, it was Clippers Suns, obviously the first game ever, and I got the tickets on Game Time when I didn't have a swell pass yet. And it came in clutch for me during the NLCS Game 1 as well. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. The NBA trade deadline is basically here, and we want to give you a free month of our new Everydayer Club to help you get ready. If you need a group chat to keep up with the chaos, join ours. The Everydayer Club gets you access to a group chat on Discord just for Clipper fans and Locked On Clippers fans, plus national chats where you can hang out with fans from across the league. And I'll be in there as well. So far, there's been no messages, except I guess there's a Clipper news bot. So there's news you can get delivered as well. If you're looking at the YouTube version of this show right now, there's a Clipper news bot that is showing that, like, Jokic, for example, is going to play tonight against us. He's making his return after missing 16 games with a bone bruise. I didn't want to talk about that right now. It's killing my fun of this positive episode. But anyway, the player who has really done a 180 is John Collins. We traded Norman Powell for this guy. And it's really funny how this season has gone. Because in the beginning of the season, Norman Powell was absolutely killing it. And John Collins wasn't even starting. Ty Lue didn't even start this guy. And we were all like, what? Like, I thought the whole point of getting John Collins was to have a bigger four next to Kawhi, to not have him guard bigger guys, or not have to have him be the low man rotating at the rim a lot of the times. But we didn't even start him. We started Bradley Beal and then one point of attack guy. Then he ended up starting and could not hit a three to save his life. It was wild. When we were 6-21, he was shooting 27% from three. In the month of November, he shot 33% from deep. And he wasn't really doing much on, like, either end of the floor. Like, he wasn't doing anything defensively really to or on the glass to negate that he was not shooting well. Like, he was literally bricking every open three. And he was getting lost on defense. He was frequently at fault when we had miscommunications. This guy has been on a heater from 3 in this stretch. He's shooting 58% from 3 in January and he shot 36% from 3 in December. In the beginning of the month, he was bad, and then he started shooting well as the month went on. He's now shooting a career high from 3 after all that, 43%. And the funny part is, now that John Collins is killing it and we're winning games, and I think defensively he's been a little bit better. Like, he's been better about not being at fault for miscommunications, knowing our coverages, not being involved in those kinds of brain lapses, losing sight of his man, off ball, that kind of stuff. It's funny because now that John Collins is killing it for us and we're winning games, I'm starting to see tweets from Heat fans about Norman Powell being a fake all-star and he doesn't do anything besides score. I guess it's all working itself out. With much love to Norman Powell, by the way, because I love Norman Powell. And I still think he's better at basketball than John Collins. But fit-wise, you can start to see why we made the move. Now, right now, we're not as good as we were last year. We just had a better roster last year. But let's see. We're trending in the right direction. We're playing the best basketball of any team. And I think John Collins is the X factor because when you give up a guy like Norman Powell, you're giving up a level of scoring. Now, we obviously thought we'd be replacing that to some degree with Bradley Beal and then Chris Paul being some shot creation. And Bogey. All 3 of those guys have been either negatives or just not the guy that we thought they were going to be for us this season. Bradley Beal getting injured very early on in the season, Bogey being injured basically all year, and CP3 getting kicked off the team, and then somehow, after a couple of games of meh, we go on the best run of the season without him. Was it because of Chris Paul? Did we need to get him out? I think, as I said before in another episode, that deserves its own episode if it was Chris Paul's fault. But I'm just going to say that this team was bound to play better than what they were playing. And when I talk about John Collins and his shooting splits and how he went from being ice cold from 3 to shooting super well from 3, that's another huge reason why we've turned it around. Shooting variance. Just returning back to the median, or returning back to the mean. Remember mean, median, and mode back in the day? Shout out to all the teachers out there, man. If you're a math teacher or something listening to this show, man, you would have hated me as a student. But going back to the shooting variance, we were shooting horribly from 3, almost to the point where it was like, okay, I know we're not a great 3-point shooting team or even a good one, but we're not this bad of one. And it almost feels like John Collins' 3-point shooting turnaround has been our 3-point shooting turnaround. Like, I feel like he's been that important for those numbers. And then, of course, you have younger guys coming in, knocking down some threes. And then, as I mentioned, Kawhi Leonard's increased volume. Because you know who's not making that many threes? Brook Lopez. He has not shot well in this stretch. He has not. But John Collins has, and Kawhi Leonard has shot more threes. More threes for Kawhi Leonard equals more makes. Because Brook Lopez, dude, he has been a fake 3-point shooting big. He's shot 33% from 3 on the season. And then in the month of December, he actually shot well, 49%. But in the month of January, 23% from 3. So, and in December, he didn't actually play a ton of games because he was out of the rotation. He played 8 games, but 5 of those games were the stretch where we were like, oh, is the team better without Zoo? In my opinion, Zoo has been around the same level. If anyone's noticed anything different with Zoo, I think Zoo's been the same in the beginning of the season as he's been in this stretch. He hasn't been a big change. But John Collins, the shooting variance, and also it's not just our shooting variance that we've shot better, it's that other teams aren't going crazy from 3. It felt like every single game, or almost every single game in that first 27 games, these teams were like having either players or teams in general were having outlier shooting nights from 3. Bam Adebayo had his career high in threes against us. Cam Spencer had his career high in points against us. Andrew Wiggins was hitting a ton of threes. I mean, that can happen, I guess, sometimes. But it was crazy. It was like somebody new would just go off every single game. And we would be broke. So that has, things have evened themselves out. So we're 22 and 24 now. But another big reason why we've turned things around for me has been the youth movement. We're going to be talking about those young guys coming up. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. Sadly, my Rams bowed out in the NFC Championship, and I'm really sad about it. But this is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the Seahawks, riding with the Pats as the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. I mean, it's America's biggest day of sports. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. This is where guys make their legacy. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, to the LA Clippers, the hottest team in basketball. Who would have thought we'd be saying that after we were the most disappointing team in basketball to start the season? I mean, everybody thought, including myself, that, man, we made some good additions. We got John Collins to shore up that 4 spot. We got Bradley Beal and Chris Paul to handle the ball a little more, take some load off of James Harden. We still have Bogey getting a full season, I should say. We got Brook Lopez. We are ready to go. But a lot of those guys made us older and slower. And we doubled down on old and slow. And that ended up not being a good move. Then we see a youth injection, starting with Kobe Sanders. And for those who are unfamiliar, Kobe Sanders was our second-round pick this past draft, number 50 to be exact, pick number 50, out of the University of Nevada, Reno, but he also played some years at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, or as we say around these parts, Cal Poly Slow. Now, Kobe Sanders has been a guy who we did not think was going to get rotation minutes, but with Chris Paul and Bogdan Bogdanovic's injury / get your ass out of here with CP3, Kobe Sanders has had a bigger role than he expected. Kobe Sanders has actually played more games for us than Kawhi this season. He's played more games for us than Derrick Jones Jr. this season. He's played 38 games. He has started 8 of those games. And he's been quite the revelation. He started out knocking down some threes in his first couple of games that he got rotation minutes. And we were like, oh, with the way we're shooting right now, we could definitely use some guys that can knock down open threes. He started to also show some playmaking chops. But that still needed some work. We saw him turn the ball over a good amount, and we were really heavy turnover. We were a really heavy turnover team at the beginning of the season, and we've really done a better job of taking care of the basketball. But at one point, I was like, okay, during that stretch, I was like, look, Kobe Sanders is doing well. He's doing as well as he can, but he's not ready to be in this rotation. He's not ready to be in this rotation. He's not supposed to be in a win-now situation. But then we saw the things that I mentioned in the first 2 segments happen. Kawhi Leonard, the superstar Kawhi Leonard, averaging like 29, 30 points a game. And then John Collins start to make shots. And then the, occasional turnovers, occasional games of Kobe Sanders being average didn't matter. When the big boys that are getting paid the big bucks are doing their thing, it lets your role players that are not, you don't expect as much of, it gives them a larger room for error. And I think Kobe Sanders has also done a better job of taking care of the ball too. So Kobe this season, he played a decent chunk of games in each month. In November, he was basically all of a sudden in the rotation, starting with that game against the Denver Nuggets that Jokic dropped, 50 points, 55 points against us. Hope he doesn't drop 55 points against us on Friday night. But yeah, so he's been great. And he's just gotten better, I feel like, as the season's gone on. And just as he's kind of gotten more accustomed to playing NBA basketball, he's been able to do a little bit of everything for us. Knock down open threes, play make a little bit, hit some tough shots to beat the shot clock buzzer too, some nice turnarounds. And he's got a really good poise about him. I don't think he's necessarily a good NBA defender yet, but I think he's above average for sure. He contests shots well. He knows his coverages, like knows where to be, knows who to switch on. There's not many defensive miscommunications coming from Kobe. I just think he can be better on ball. But 7 points a game, 2.5 boards, 1.5 assists, shooting 44.5% from the field, but 39% from three and 85 from the line. So his shooting splits are good. His true shooting is good. He has been awesome for us, really. Someone that we just didn't expect we were going to get this production out of. And then you've got the injury to Ivica Zubac that we thought was really going to hurt us. And Brook Lopez has not been great, right? But in that stretch, he was good. But my bigger concern was who is going to back up Ivica Zubac? Sorry, Brook Lopez, right? Will Giannis be able to handle it? And it's less about what Giannis would do, and it's more about will the combination of Brook Lopez and Giannis hold up? And it did. And Giannis came in and gave us some really solid minutes, running the floor hard, being a bigger vertical threat than Zoo or Brook Lopez, of course, showing us some solid rim protection, and mainly just showing what a lot of Clipper fans already felt after watching him in Summer League and in limited minutes in the preseason. This guy's an NBA player. You know, Giannis, for those that are unfamiliar with Giannis Conan Niederhauser, he was our first-round pick this past draft, pick number 30, the Oklahoma City Thunder pick swap. So, yeah. And he's from Switzerland. He went to Penn State. And he was really solid in that stretch of games without Zoo, including a 16-6 game against the Sacramento Kings. And then he recently had a 16-point game against the Wizards, in which we won 119-105 at Intuit. So great stuff from Giannis. And then the recent one, Jordan Miller. Jordan Miller is playing the best basketball of his career. He has this amazing ability to get 2 feet in the paint, even though he's not the quickest or strongest in the world. He's got an amazing usage of footwork, especially playing off 1 foot, where he kind of has that slow step where a defender flies by and he still either gets a foul or gets a layup. He's really good at finishing through contact. He's got a killer Euro step, and he's just got a great left hand and finds a way. He's just crafty enough with his dribble that he finds a way to get in the paint. And he has been on the best stretch of his career, as I said. He's averaging 9 points a game, which, of course, is his NBA career high. He's shooting 52% from the field, 37% from three, and 81.5% from the foul line. He has scored in double figures in our last 8 games, and he's scored in double figures in 9 of the last 10, including a 21-point game in January on the 9th against the Nets. Jordan Miller, I'm so happy for him. The thing is about Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller is that they're both on 2-way contracts. Jordan Miller was our 2nd-round pick, 40th overall in 2023. And this is the first time he's like really broken into the rotation. He had some games in last season when he was kind of in the rotation, but it just wasn't permanent. It didn't stick. But now he's in the rotation. So, yeah, I'm really happy for him and the way he's played. Also, so that's another big reason why we've been on this run is the injection of youth. It has helped us in a lot of ways. We have more guys that can attack closeouts with Jordan Miller and Kobe Sanders. We have more guys that are quick to get back on defense in transition. We have more guys that can give us offensive rebounds here and there. You know, all that stuff matters. And the NBA is a young guys league more than ever before. We needed some youth instead of Chris Paul and Bogey and Brook Lopez. Like, Brook Lopez actually has still been playing. But when you have Brook Lopez mixed with the likes of Beal, Chris Paul, and Bogey, that's when Brook Lopez's flaws start to look more glaring. You know, the fact that he's slower and older and struggles to get back. Zubac also can be much better in transition too, and he's not an older guy. But that's been a huge part of our success is the youth movement. And it's been really nice because, you know, we're all looking at the future as well as Clipper fans, a lot of us, and thinking about what life after Kawhi is going to look like in this, you know, 2027 free agency window that we keep talking about. But seeing some of the guys that you already have that are homegrown look promising, even in a win now situation, I think it's really the best of both worlds for a lot of Clipper fans. So, yeah, Kobe Sanders, Jordan Miller, Giannis Conan Niederhauser, shout out to all of them. Even Kim Christie's gotten some time here and there. Kobe Brown has as well, but As I've said, I don't know if Kobe Bryant's an NBA player, but God bless him because I think he's a really nice kid. Anyway, some stats that have also changed the game for us a little bit. In the beginning of the season, we were the worst. I mean, not the worst defensive team, but we were so bad defensively that it was like, wow, like we were really the third best defense in the league last year. And now we're 26th in defensive rating. 26th. The last 15 games, we're 11th in defensive rating. We have changed the tide on that end of the floor. And a lot of that, I'm telling you, is the shooting variance. We're up to 20th now in defensive rating in the league, which is still not great. But we have been missing Derrick Jones Jr. I think our defense will only get better when we get him back. But it sounds about right. And I think Kawhi, by the way, I didn't mention this at the top of the show. Kawhi has been better defensively too, I think, in this stretch. Really active with his hands. Getting a lot of steals. But yeah, turning it around defensively has been big. Going from 26th to 11th, that's a big difference. So now we're in 20th. Let's see where we can get by the end of the season. Hopefully top half would be nice. And then offensively, right? Offensively, we are 12th in the league for the season. In the last 15 games, number 3. So our offense has been what's really been scorching. So, hey, we're top half of the league offensive team for the season. 11th. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. 12th, I'm sorry. That ain't bad. So there you have it. Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, having legs in the second half, youth movement, shooting variance. So a lot of reasons. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going, man. Denver Nuggets on Friday night. Let's see how it goes. We'll obviously have a pod for you on Saturday morning. The age-old. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. And of course, Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video, and gets us up to 9,000 subscribers before the end of the season. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.